Yes, so in this whole process of um, doing a character animation as a part of because all of this, the idea here, the story is that this is like a bit out of or let's even call it a scene out of, let's say we are doing an explainer video for FMYST, right? Teaching, explaining how you can log in to make use of the portal, right? So, and this is like an asset that has to do. The idea is that okay, you log into www. So instead of just only just showing www, sometimes instead of just showing that, sometimes it may work only just show www. Log into www.fmyz.com. Sometimes it may not work. You may need to like add some extra, details. So in that adding some extra details, you have some extra character to like give some visual to make the whole process visual appealing. So in this whole process, you sometimes many times it now involves character animation, apart from all these other elements that will later treat on how to go about and move them. So but today, for now, we'll just focus on the character animation. So the first thing to do is to get your break out because once I look at this place, right? Okay, first off, is this man I want to animate, right? Why this whole thing is typing in here? Is this person I want to animate? When you look at like what possible action do you think this person should be doing? Yeah, you need to do a proper breakdown of that. Yes, you need to do a proper breakdown of that. But before then, let me quickly done this, because before now, right, during the class I thought I recorded this, but I discovered that I paused the record at the time, so I need to go back and do this recording. So let me get the color on this, get the color to match. So the way to go about that, I go to my field, add my field here, so I can pick this color, yes, and get this. The field again. So okay, I can just select it from the trousers straight. Then let me locate it here. Okay, let me name this leg back. I think it should be the shade. So I can collect the red from here. And so I can afford to pick this darker version of the red here. So this was the one I picked for this. The darker version of the red. Yes, I think that's right about it. Then the first thing I need to focus. Okay, I just want him to raise this. His hand was down before, then he raises it up to and this magnifying glass comes up. Right, that's just major time. The head also looks up. That's just major time I want to give to it, the major movement I want to give to it. So with that now, it means I need to get the hierarchy on this arm, the hand leg, right? So with this now, first I also need to set the anchor point, because without that now, if I move this, the anchor point is off, right? So we need to come here, drag this upright. Yes, I've named it up. And okay, many times what I do, I need to color code this. Let's say yes, this franchise color. So with that now, I go to the next one, because the idea is that where does it need to, like, where does the control point need to come from for this hand now? And the way to confirm is, once you know, is when you run like the rotate. I hit rotate. Once you are using the rotate, if it's looking realistic, it means yes, that's right. That's right. That's correct. But if not, let's say this is here. If not, it will go wonky. It will don't right. Okay. Then take this. Now after, okay, once I've done that, right, I now do parents, which I've just done, right? Because the order is that the control hierarchy, that where the control is that this should control this and this should control this. So it means this should be a child. That's what I've just done. I just give it parent it to this. So this is now a child to this, then this should be a child to this. So with that now, once I hit my R to test if it's correct, yes, and it's moving. Okay, the whole arm is moving. Let me continue on that. Then I also need to, because sometimes this may work, this may not work, right? Also need to parent this to this. Sometimes it may work once I just parent it to it. And okay, let's also get the anchor point for this. Once with this now, where should the central movement come from? For it to move this, where should it flow? Where the movement should flow from? It means from somewhere here, right? But now, in default, it's meant to flow from here. But since this hand is on it, right? So the control should be coming from somewhere in the hand where the hand region is. So this can either move here, can either come up here. So once this is coming down, then this one is going up. So the central distance should be here. So I need to now move this to the arm where the central control should come from. Where the central control should be coming from. So yeah, so with that now, yes, I need to rename this magnifying glass. So I can take it. Yeah, this is like what is called shadow, the arm shadow. It's usually used to give things, make them more realistic, give them depth. Because without it, this will just be flat. Right. So with that in mind now, so yes, I parent this to the hand. See the flow. The hand, the magnifying glass is pointed to the hand is pointed to the arm is pointed to, that's how it flows. But this shadow I can just parent it to the, sometimes it may work, sometimes it may not work, right? I've just parented to the upper arm. Yes, in the other class that didn't eventually didn't I forgot to hit record. There was a system I used to animate this shadow. Well, another idea just came to me now, that a possible way to do that, and it will involve me doing what is called mask. Now let me quickly run you through what the mask system, what mask is. Let me Control N to create another composition to explain something. Quickly explain this to you. How the mask system works is that, let's say I I have this rectangle, right? Rectangle, and I have this. I have this circle. Let's call it circle. Let me change the color. So the way it works is that it's like a cutter is like using another thing to cut another. That's what matting is. Matting or track mat is. I'm using one thing to cut another. So let's say when this circle comes, right, I want it to always cut, make it once it interacts with, I want it to always cut this. Okay, once it comes, right, once it enters here, right, this right, we always cut it. This rectangle will always cut this. So once all of this side now shouldn't be seen. How do we go about that, right? Though I still want this rectangle to be shown, right? But I want it to now cut this. So the way to go about that, I need to duplicate this. Use this rectangle as a defining area, the second one now, and I normally name that, call that mat. This mat is like a defining area that I want to use to cut this circle. So with that done, I take it to the up on top of this. Many times I normally take it to yellow. I turn the color to yellow. Or let's say pink now. Let's say pink this time around. So with this now, I can afford to take the circle, make it yes. So there are 4 options here. There's the one called alpha mat. Alpha means we are using the color system. We are using the color system that it has, the color it has to do the cutting, to do the C or not. So it says that when it says alpha mat, that the color to C, then color inverted, then C. What do I mean? Once I say alpha mat, so as you can see, so right now what it means is that for this circle, right, we can only see the circle inside what we've used to define. This is a okay, let me go over this. We've used this, right? We've used this mat to define where we want the circle to be seen. This circle can only show where this our mat is. So it can only show. But if you go invert, it's the opposite. Yes, we want to show where this our mat is showing, right? You can only be seen where our mat is. But this time around, do the opposite of that. So once it comes, it get cut. So now this is what I was talking about that time. So once it comes, it just cuts. So it's when it's outside. So that's how that works. But for the many times, this is usually maybe when you're using maybe smoke, when you want to add some visual smoke effect. That's when all of this particular one, luma mat, that when you're using the brightness level. Luma means light, that's illuminate light. So when you're using this, so it means how bright, right? It means the bright, so you can see it's playing with the brightness. But in this time around, it's not about the luma. So in a nutshell, this is how it works. The mark system works. So with that in mind now, when we come back here, so this torso we need to duplicate it and make math out of it. Let's even name this torso. Yeah, let's give it a different color. Then duplicate this and name it math. So can afford to take it to the shade on top of the shade, and remember, we make it invisible. This is the shadow, right? It doesn't need to be seen, it needs to be invisible. So it's on top there, so we can afford to take this, come here, make alpha matte. So but there's one thing I need to do, because right now there's one thing I need to do. I need to come here, first of all, create shapes from vector. What that allows me, and once I do that, instead causing some issue. So I need to delete this shape now. I don't need it anymore. So this is still the matte, but I need to delete this. I don't need it anymore. So once I come here, I delete this too. So it shows this is remaining. Okay, let me explain thoroughly what just happened. Is that once you remember that for each of these items, they are all Illustrator files. So they are referencing what we have here. I've removed the other one, but they are referencing. You know what? Let me open it. They are referencing what we have here. So this file, so it's on a network base. So everything we have in Illustrator is being brought into this After Effects, right? So, but once I did that, I right click on it. I can right click on it. I say create shapes from vector layer. It now converted this to this, right? It created a native After Effects file from it. It created a native After Effects file. However, the After Effects now pays cognizance to the canvas size, which in After Effects is called the composition size, right? Which is not what I want. So start finding some extra things I don't want. It's doing extra I don't want. So and I need to come here and delete this group. Delete the group. I need to come here also. Delete this merge part. We'll talk about merge parts maybe possibly in some other class. So with this now, it's why did I go through this whole long process? With this, I can format this in After Effects here. I can change that shape, because before now I could not. The format shadow that I deleted, I could not. So I can add extra, right? I can add extra. Now let me go on and do this later. Once we come in the animation part, I will explain how to actually animate this too. Yes, and why it's very important. And okay, I think it's even best we see why it's important. Then what I'm doing now will make more sense to us. So right now, yes, which I've done the parenting. So once I have my parents, okay, let me go to this other one. I want to go to the back arm and also get my parenting right before I move to animation. But this is not allowing me select it. My finder is not allowing me select the back. So I need to do what? Make this. I need to lock this layer so that I'll be able to select this one. So once I have it selected, I hit P to locate it. I call it back arm. Back arm. And hopefully this is the hand. Okay, there, this is the hand. I make it like a unique color too, like say red. Then take this, parent this to this, right? Then though I've done the parenting, then I can make sure the anchor point is set. So that way, either I do the anchor point before I do the parenting, or I parent then set anchor points. So this is the arm. Make sure it's somewhere here. Now, mind you, once I come here, if I do rotate, you will notice that the arm, there's this thing sticking out, right? So that's why before now, in the last line, when we were in Illustrator, I was telling us that it's very, very, very important to have your joints rounded. So right now, since it's pointed, it's not working fine at all. So the way to fix that, let me take this to 0, is to come here, right click on this again, create shapes from vector. So once I have that, I can delete this particular one. So, but that means I need to now do parent this again, because once I deleted that, I need to parent this to this. So I need to delete this whole extras that I have here, the empty part, because this is just an empty part, it's just empty, but it's taking cognizance of the composition size. So I delete this, I delete each part, so it's remaining just this part alone. So with this now, I can afford to come here, solo this layer by hitting this solo icon. So with this, I bring out my G to bring that is to pen tool, or click that select that. So I can hold Alt. I'm holding Alt now. Once it's here, once the pen tool is selected, I hold Alt, so it changes this. So I can click on that this thing and make it round. But sometimes you can see, sometimes it may actually, because I like the curve that comes with it. So once I hit it, it's altered it. So the way to be on the safer side is that I make sure I have another point here defined, so it wouldn't offset this whole thing I'm trying to do here. So with this now, I can afford to bring this, make it, you understand? So it has that flow. So once this is done, I can remove the solo and move the solo. So yes, so with this now, if we do a test run R, so like test run we have, so you can see that thing whole thing is not sticking out, like it's not hash, the thing is sticking out. So yes, remove this outline, because once we do it, normally it gives it name outline, which is annoying. Remove that. So with this now, we can make all of this red and take this and parent it to this. So once we have that parented, so we can start moving into animation. Again, what was it that came to my mind? At the beginning, I see it raising this magnifying glass. So it means at the beginning, it needs to be at rest. Let's say we bring the hand back. So let's focus on this one. Okay, and the first thing you now need to also do, ask yourself, in this whole animation that I want to do, in this whole movement I want to give to this, what is the central driving part? What is the central driving part that needs to be? Because I can go ahead and start moving this magnifying glass, whereas I could have just parented it to this part of the board that will just move everything. So at each point in time, you need to ask yourself, what is the major part of the board that needs to move, that possibly will even carry the rest? So right now, in doing that, is this upper arm, right? So I hit the upper arm, hit R to bring down my upper arm. Once I'm in 0, 0. So right now, I'm thinking of giving the movement somewhere here. So somewhere here. Yes, somewhere here, the hand, you understand? Then when we go in time, it raises it up. So holding Control Shift forward arrow 1, 2. That I did Control Shift forward arrow 1, 2. I press it twice. Control Shift forward arrow twice. That's why I was holding Control Shift. While I was still holding Control Shift, I pressed forward arrow twice. Let me take it back. That's backward arrow, then while I'm still holding Ctrl Shift, forward arrow, forward arrow. So with that now, in time, I can bring it up somewhere here, I think somewhere here. Oh, no, I think further than this actually, somewhere here. So you can see what I was talking about, that okay, this will start going wonky. So this is where that mask system comes in play. So because it's going out and like it's coming out of this, and that's not what I want. So rather, I need to use this mask like as we did, we defined an area for it to see or not to see, not to show or not to show, or to be or not to be. We use that to define it, that area. So it is in this now. We need to use this mark now to define our shape to where we can see it or not. So with that selected, having this on top of it. Remember, this is a duplicate of the torso. It's a duplicate of the torso. Now, why do we even need this? Why do we need this shade at all? Because if I remove it, once I have this, okay. Can you imagine? I didn't, in my animation, I didn't, okay, I was just demonstrating shift and I didn't even keyframe. Now, I know some of you might be having this challenge, right? Let me go back to it again. I did keyframe when I was moving my in point and output. So at the beginning, I want it to be 0, not necessarily somewhere here, right? So I need to keyframe it, hit it. I like this, right? Then when I go in time and I'm hitting shift, holding Ctrl Shift, forward arrow, so it moves 10 frame ahead. So it has moved 10 frame ahead. You know what? Let me go make this composition, but this composition is too long. Let's 45 seconds, which shouldn't be more than 5 seconds in the real time if we were to just demonstrate what we want. So in 14, in somewhere here, I press N, right click on this, shrink come to work area. Yeah, so we have more real estate now to really look at what we want. So let's say Ctrl Shift, forward arrow, then this comes up this way, this comes up this way. So without that shadow layer, you can see this is just flat, it's totally flat. You can't even see what is happening there. So that's where that shadow layer comes in. Where is it? Yes, but in it coming in now, is now shooting out and all of that, right? So the way to mitigate that is to use this, because remember again and again, this is the torso layer that I renamed matte. So I use it to define the area this shade needs to be seen or not. So, and I make alpha matte. So you see, so. And I've parented it to this upper arm, but somewhere here you can see that in somewhere here it means this needs to come down a little bit much more than where it is. So the way, see, then now this is why I converted it to a native After Effects shape, so I can always come here and modify the shape. I can add on that point and drag this. Yes. No, this is not what I want. I hit escape. I hit G, and I need to deselect this layer. I select this to bring out this point again. So with this, yeah, I think I can just add this extra point here. Let's take this down there. So with this now, even though when it's shooting outside, it's not looking very bad. So that's that about that. Okay. So right now we have the arm raised, right, as an action, what an action was given to it. However, However, okay, I need to now also give the action to the other arm, right? Because it's meant to, like, yes, I need to give an action to the other arm. So I need to locate the arm, but this is not allowing me select this one. Okay, let's even bring it down here. Let's see, will I be able to select? Okay, yes, I can be. But many times, once it's not allowing me select, whatever is on the way that's not allowing me select, I need to deselect. I need to lock those other. So you'll be able, remember at the time I had to lock this magnifying glass, so you'll be able to allow me to select this one. So with that selected now, I can afford to come here, hit P to locate it, or R, whichever. So now I'm on R, I just hit R to bring out the rotation. So also at this particular time I need it to be down also somewhere here too. Right, I record now, I record the property where it is as it is. I like it. There's some artifacts happening here. This is meant to, but you know what, let's just, because this is not so essential, let's just remove it, even if I delete. Okay, but this is where, okay, for instance now, because I've removed, because at the time, because it was the hand was inside the glass and the magnifying glass was at the back, it wasn't very obvious that this hand is not complete. But right now that the hand is looking like this, the way to mitigate that is another create shape from layer command. Okay, create shape from vector layer, right? Again, delete this one, you don't need it. Then this, come inside here, delete all these unnecessary things, delete the group, delete the merge part. So here now I can afford to, with my G2, or that's the pen tool, the G, right? As in hit G, the shortcut to bring out my pencil, and I can afford to bring this out this way. Just give it this cartoony looking, and I think that's about it. So it's not looking so jagged up and so rough. Yes, so, and the good thing is that once that it maintained the appearance. So once this also comes up, where is it? Okay, yeah, the keyframe is somewhere. So I want it to also come up also, to be up also. So I want it to also be up here. That's rotation now. It has to be here too. Right. So mind you, sometimes as you rotated this, or it may not fit, sometimes you may also need to play with the as this, right? You also need to bring the position and make sure the other, let's say I'm bringing out the position also, let's say, because in the other class when I did this, the position was a little bit off, so you may need to now add the position, right? Also, okay, let's say at this particular time the hand goes much upper than it is. So you can see, then it means I really need to bake the positioning and the rotation together. If not, the whole thing will be okay. Let me see if that will work. Like, if not, there will be a form of some missing going on. But they usually need to bake both of them together. So with this gives us a short animation, right? But many times to give it some level of interest, right, we need to, because it's looking very much mechanical, right? So we need to take this, offset it a little bit, because we don't move at the same. Let's say you want to raise your hand, your left leg and your right leg. Many times the right arm, there's usually some level of differences. Something like this. It's better than that one. So that's the way to go about that. Now let me quickly run it through. Okay, let's say, right, before you were thinking we will only just move this person. Okay, let me quickly do the head. let's say initially the head. Okay, I also need to, before I start animating, I need to get the parenting correct. The head, the central place where the movement flows from should be somewhere here. So I hit P to locate it and R to bring out this, right? So in my mind, I'm thinking at this particular time, it shouldn't raise it. There is only when it has finished raising the hand, there's where the head should. But right now, it should be somewhere here. The direction should be somewhere here, right? So I record this at the beginning. Then at the end, when it goes up, then it also rises. It raises the head. In fact, it raises the head earlier. Much earlier. Something like this. Yeah, so we have all of this. Now, let's say before I was only in my thinking, I was only thinking I would only animate this man alone while the thing is other text alone. But I now realized that, you know what, I need to animate all of this other thing, maybe. So how do we go about that? So what we need to do is that we need to come back to Illustrator. Why this alone is selected. First, before you do anything, do Ctrl+Shift+S. Ctrl+Shift+S, save as, you know. So I've done this before, just that I failed to record. So this is woman. Now I need to name this as woman 2. Right? So since we have search engine to After Effects, you know, just say search engine woman. Right, search engine woman 2. Okay. I say yes, it brings out this illustration, make sure Illustrator say yes. Then, if that's the case, this is just the woman alone that I want, right? Then every other thing that I can select from here to here, I don't need any of those, so I can afford to just do what? Delete, hit, as I'm dragging them into this waste bin, so they are deleted. And also don't need this one, drag it into the waste bin. So with that now, you should be able to, you know, let's say, okay, what's the possible action that we need to give to this lady? Maybe at the time, her head she was looking straight, right? She now looks down, looking at the phone. It means, and also maybe this arm was down before then it, you know, curves up, it moves up to meet her, right? Then this hand was somewhere there, right? Something, or the leg also moves, right? So it means, yes, I explained. Okay, let me explain this more. This is a pretty practical, you know, demonstration of, you know, the importance of separating. You know, like when you come here, you could say, this thing has different layers already. Now, what are we saying? Why do I need to, you know, put everything in here, right? Is in sub layers but not in main layer, right? There's a major layer and there's sub layers. After Effects only reads main layers, so that's why in here, though you could find different layers there, but in here it only reading as just a single layer, which is the major layer. So that's why, let me save on this. So that is why at each point in time, if you really want to move any parts, any thing, you need to separate them, right? So the fast way to go about that is to, let's say, sometimes this may work, this may not work. Ctrl+Shift+G. So I'm going to group this first of all. Ctrl+Shift+G. It didn't work. It didn't work. So sometimes you just need to drag this out here. So they are all in the layer themselves now. So I need to run the release to layer command. So now they are all in their own main layers. So once I do that, right, they are all separated. However, I still need to separate them further. Yeah, I still need to separate them. Yeah, it's further, not further. It's further in this regard. I still need to separate them further. So, is it further? I can't remember each of them. Which one? I think the father is the one for idea, then father is for distance. So I need to separate the father. So with that now, I come here. Okay, let's say, look, let me try to run the Ctrl Shift G. Did it work? Okay, it worked. The Ctrl Shift G worked this time around. So I come here, release to layer sequence. So now they are all in, tangible layer themselves, like main layer. So with this now, you can see the hair is separate, so I can move the head differently, maybe when she's possibly, but just the head, having just the head, you know what? Yeah, like in this regard, if I try to take this, because at the end of the day, what I just need to, once I move the hair should just move right. But if I take it inside there, you see there's an issue, right? Is in terms of hierarchy, is blocking the arm. But that's not what I want. So it should remain where it is. But when you try, you now need to parent this back one into this and animate the head. Also, you may need to also do a further breakdown. Remove the neck from, yes, because the neck, because like for instance now when she's looking, it's not the neck that needs to move, it's the head that needs to move, right? So you can remove, should be able to remove this and call it neck. Many times I usually just like what I showed you for this shadow, right? Just like what I demonstrated for this when we're moving this arm, this right. Sometimes you may need to you don't come here when we are here, we convert it to a native After Effects and make it bigger, right? If at all, sometimes if you really want to do some serious maybe some tangible animation, sometimes just parenting it to the head works as this shadow. So with this now, you have your separate parts that you can animate, right? And yes, I'm expecting you people to do the animation for this. But once you have this and I have that saved, I hit my S. Before I started anything, I made sure I saved with another name. If not, while we are still here, it will scatter everything. So the first thing you needed to do is to hit your Ctrl Shift S. That's what I did, and I've separated all of this. I would have gone ahead, but sake of time, right? Before you start to bring them in After Effects, it's usually best to name, like right leg, left leg, all of this. Name them properly before you bring them into After Effects, and before you do your final save. And that's what I want to do now. S, I do my S, Ctrl S. So with this in After Effects now, come back to my, this is not where I want to, my project. This is Illustrator folder, search engine woman. Yes, I bring her in here. Now mind you, while I was here, I didn't tamper with this at all. I didn't tamper with this composition, because that will also determine how, because once I'm bringing it will determine the exact position that it will place her. Yes, composition, layer size, and say okay. Once I bring her immediately, okay, let's even look it in terms of hierarchy. Where is she? Okay, she's immediately here. So once I take it here, so you can see it retained the exact position. So with this now, the good thing that I can come here and have her alone, and whatever animation I'm doing, I'm not, because once I start, imagine if I were to bring all these layers now, I also have them inside there, so it will just be too many layers to work with. So it's best to just have them here, do everything that you have here, then it will be recorded here. It will be recorded here. So, in a nutshell, what I have just done, I think in the next class we'll look into, adding all these other elements, moving these other elements, possibly, right? And also adding text, maybe moving this. But right now, this simple animation I've just seen you to, I'd like you to, give other, simple movements, give life to these other persons, right? And you've seen how I broke this down. You need to go back and break this other one down so you'll be able to move them. So this for now, this is what we have now.